Always trust your gut feeling. This story starts off with me and my boyfriend enjoying our night watching some Netflix and snacking at the Airbnb we were staying at. I got pretty tired before him, as usual, and ended up falling asleep around 1 in the morning. He stayed up playing some video games on his PS5. He said he had a really strange feeling and thought it'd be best to stay up as he just couldn't shake this feeling. But suddenly there was a reason for it. A loud ring from the doorbell startled him and woke me up. I was so confused about what was happening as it was 3 a.m. at this point. Loud banging along with hysteric screaming for help came from the other side of the front door. Keep in mind the door itself only had deadbolt lock on it. Me being the scared girlfriend, I grabbed my pocket knife and handed it to my BF. He grabbed me and our dog and told me to be quiet as maybe she didn't. We were there. The screaming and banging continued for what felt like 45 minutes. We just hid there in a blind spot from the door and windows as we waited for her to go away. All of a sudden, quiet. No noise. We thought maybe it was over and had left somewhere else. We sat there on the couch just talking about what had happened. My boyfriend reassured me that we couldn't help her as it could have put our own lives in danger. Considering the area we were in was not safe at all and has a very high crime rate, we continued to sit there as we both calmed down when suddenly again, "Help me! Let me in! I need help!" Again accompanied by loud banging at the door. We got up from the couch and hid again, but this time we saw her. The room was a studio, so the bed was at the end of the room facing the front of the house with 2 smaller windows on the left and right side as well as one more big window on the right. The right window had a motion light, and the left front window did not close all the way as there was an outdoor security camera connected through it. We saw the lady looking at us through the slightly open window on the left. My heart dropped to my butt, I kid you not. And then she tried opening it. That was when I called 911. In all honesty, the operator was not much help. He asked about the situation, and I explained to him everything through tears of freight. Yet all he could tell me was, "If she is not in the house and you guys are not in immediate danger, then I cannot have someone sent straight out there. We will have an officer go through the area when they can." And then continued to tell me, "Don't let her in the house and sit tight." I was pretty pissed they didn't at least tell us an ETA. My boyfriend continued to call his friend and explain the situation, telling his friend to drive past the house just to scare her off so we could get out of there. Which is exactly what he did. While we waited for him, we saw cop lights outside. By this time, it was almost 5 a.m. We could see out the bathroom window that the lady was talking to the officer. We don't know what was said, but whatever was made, the officer leave without saying a word to us. After that, she paced back and forth in front and on the side of the house like she was contemplating something. This caused the motion light to go on, and off. Finally, around 5:30, my boyfriend's friend arrived and we had all our stuff packed. We waited for her to go back to the side of the house and made a run for it. We both didn't look back to see if she saw or followed us, but I don't want to know. Thankfully, we were safe that night and had all our stuff with us so we didn't have to go back. We left a review about that horrible experience. Always trust your gut feeling because you never know when it just might save your life.
Uncle who disappeared. So this happened to me when I was around 13 or 14. My family had decided to visit Shimla, India. Being the religious people that my parents are, they had decided to visit all the major nearby temples, whether in Shimla or in adjoining districts. So this incident occurred to me while we were on the way to visit this one particular temple, which is kind of famous among the people living in Shimla, but I don't recall its name as I had no interest in temple visits, and was being forced by my parents to tag along with them. The only thing I remember is that the temple was on the peak of a tall mountain and the path to it was very steep and narrow, so we were in the car along with a driver. My mother and I were sitting in the back while my father was in the front with the driver. In order to pass the time, I was looking out of the window. Now, I think this would be a bit hard to imagine, but I will try my best to describe it. On the side that I was sitting on, you could see the mountain and the parallel road which is above the road we were on, and it will take you further up on the mountain, while on my mother's side was the mountain ditch, our cliff. But these are not 2 separate roads, but just one single narrow road which is winding upwards. As I was gazing at the road up above us, which we will be on after taking the next turn, I saw an old uncle, and he is so old that he is bent at the waist and walking with a stick very slowly. I watch him for a few seconds, but soon some trees block my view as the turn that will take us to this particular road arrives. As soon as we turn, and I have a clear view of the entire road, I do not see him anywhere. He has completely vanished, and there is this single road to walk on, no other path. On one side it's the steep mountain with no way of climbing it, and on another there is the cliff from which falling off will guarantee death. There was no other car or any other person apart from us on that road. I looked for him in the trees or at the side of the road, everywhere in that small space, but he had completely vanished. This incident still gives me the chills, and I am not able to forget the image of that old, bent-over grandpa.
Something was in my room. I'm writing this after it happened. I'm 14. I live with my parents in a 2-story house. It was around 3 a.m. when I woke up to something falling in my bathroom. I didn't move as I was scared, you could say. Noting happened for a few seconds, but I heard my bathroom door slowly open. I got confused at that point, but then I heard slow-moving steps of some sort on my carpet. I thought it was my cat at that point. After the steps got to the foot of my bed, they stopped. And then it started making noises. It sounded like a cat grooming itself, but it soon sounded like a person licking their own skin. Suddenly it stopped. Then I felt something go onto my bed. It felt like a cat on the bed, but I heard no jumping noise. I could feel it putting pressure onto my bed. I'm not sure how to explain it, but there was something on my bed. Then it stopped moving. I sat in my bed for what felt like an hour, but then I moved and turned on my lamp. Nothing was there. I ran out of my room, and I got my mom. When we went back into the room, nothing was there. If anyone has any possible explanation for this, please tell me.
I might have seen an actual ghost. Okay, so about 6 to 7 years back, I was in my 10th standard. I had never experienced someone's death before. If anything happened, usually my parents would go visit, but not me. That time, my grandmother, whom I was so close to, was suffering from cancer, which I didn't know till the last few days. I just thought that maybe she was ill and she would recover. About 15 days before she passed, my parents finally told me everything so that I could be prepared. I was so scared, not a single moment did I leave her side. Things became worse in the last 2 days. She could barely breathe, and it was something I never wanted to see. Someone suffering so much. That day, my parents didn't allow me to go near her, as they knew I might not be able to handle the stress. After she passed away, I was also quite ill for about 10 days. I couldn't even sleep alone. But after 2 years, I finally thought I had moved on, and I could finally sleep alone. I don't know what happened that night. It might be sleep paralysis, or maybe my mind. I was still scared to turn off lights, so I sleep while keeping lights on. About midnight, 1 or 2 a.m., I could feel as if someone was walking in my room. I could hear slow but strong footsteps. Unconsciously, I opened my eyes. It was bright as day due to lights, a white or a blur smoke figure. I could see it was wearing long clothes that were covering from head to toe. I could clearly see a faint face, same as to my grandmother. She used to wear a traditional big round nose ring. I can see that nose ring and her white-gray eyes. I know it sounds like straight out a movie, but this what I saw and still remember it clearly. But at the same time, I feel like this was all in my head. Till today, I can't confirm it.